friends, my name is Jess and welcome back to my channel, Books Past Bedtime. Today I'm going to be doing what all the basic TikTok bitches are doing and reading the most talked about romance books of the last couple of months. I know for me, I have been in a huge romance kick, a huge, particularly Kindle Unlimited smutty romance kick, and I don't think that's quite what these books are, but they're spicy to the TikTok girlies, so I don't know, maybe they are. We're gonna see if these books live up to the hype today, if we can trust the TikTok recommendations, because these three books are the only things that I have seen recommended on TikTok, I feel like, for the last 3 months. Do the masses have good taste? I like to think probably these books are popular for a good reason. I'm excited to see how I feel about them. So in this vlog, we're going to be first reading It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Then I'm going to pick up The Love Hypothesis. Next, we're going to pick up The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. And finally, we're going to round off this vlog with The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. I think that's all the introduction we need, so let's just hop right into it. Hi, I wanted to pop on here and let you know that I have started It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Currently, I am 200 pages in. I was thinking maybe I would finish the whole thing and update you when I was finished, but honestly I have a lot of thoughts so far, so I wanted to give you like a little over halfway update. As a quick refresher, this is an emotional romance book following our main character Lily. Lily owns this flower shop in Boston. She's really trying to make a name for herself and make her way in the world, and then she meets this guy named Ryle. Ryle does not do relationships, he's very into casual hookups, but he's very drawn to Lily and they kind of decide to try and see if they can make something work together. But we're starting to see that Ryle has some perhaps abusive tendencies, potentially. And also there's this guy named Atlas who was Lily's first love and he has come back into her life at this point. And so there's a bit of a love triangle going on here. This also kind of takes place in two timelines. In the present timeline, we're learning about Lily's relationship with Ryle. And then there are also these letters that she wrote when she was younger that we're also getting a look into that kind of describe her relationship with Atlas growing up when they were in high school. Now, when I first started this book, I was very shocked, needless to say, that this is so many people's favorite books, that so many people rave about it, that everyone gives it 5 stars, because the writing in the first 25% of this book is atrocious. Like, it's really bad. It's very clunky, it's very convenient, and it's very unrealistic. It doesn't flow well at all throughout the narrative, and the conversations that Lily and Ryle have in like the first couple of chapters are so painfully cringy and so unrealistic, like no one talks like that I was just having some difficulty suspending my disbelief and getting on board with their characters, because I was like, no one acts like this, no one talks like this. Also, the narration of Lily is just very, I don't even know how to explain it, but it doesn't flow well. It's very like telling instead of showing. It's not developing the plot. It's just like in her head, but in a weird way. It feels like she's just telling the reader what is happening, which I feel like in a well-written book, you don't feel like that. And like these letters from her past, she's literally like sat there reading them to us. Like it literally says, I lie back on the couch and begin reading. That's in the narration of this book. Just those kind of things are very jarring and very strange and make the story not flow very well. Lily is also just quirky for the sake of being quirky in a way that really bothers me. And I think, again, it's attributed to the writing, because quirky main characters in romance books really don't bother me, but Lily bothers me. This is a sentence also in the narration. 2 hours later, I'm convinced I've met my new best friend and she really is a Pinterest whore. Excuse me? What? And this is like a girl that randomly walks into her flower shop and she just hires her on the spot, and then they become like immediate best friends, and she just so happens to be Ryle's sister. It's just very convenient and very unrealistic and not in a cute way. And then like she comes up with this weird idea of like showcasing the villainous side of flowers to make her flower shop different. It just is trying too hard. It's trying too hard. That's, I think, the best way to describe it. And I had a lot of trouble with it in the first 25%. But where I am now, it has started to get better. Atlas has actually come into the present storyline now, and I really do like Atlas, and I think Atlas is the reason why so many people like this book. So I'm interested to see how everything comes together. I see that it's going in a better direction now, and I think it's gonna get emotional, and in the second half of this book because we're starting to see like abusive tendencies from Ryle. So I think it's going to look at relationships through that lens. I can see this going in a good direction and I can see myself liking it because of the end of it. But the beginning of this book is so bad. Like it's so badly written. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the last 150 pages and then I will come back and let you know my final thoughts. Okay, it's been a few days, but I did finish It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I just don't understand the hype. Don't get me wrong, like this is a good book and I did get some things out of it, but it just was not well written. I know in the last clip I was talking about how I hoped the last half of the book got better, and it definitely did, and the writing did improve throughout the book. There were still just some like awkward scenes, it just didn't flow very well, and I just never really got used to the writing style, which is weird because in the other two Colleen Hoover books that I have read, other than this one, her writing has been so easy to read, but this one I was just struggling with for some reason. It just felt unrealistic and clunky. Also, we didn't get as much romance in the last half of this book as I kind of thought we would. Instead, we really focused on Lily and Ryle's relationship. I did appreciate those dynamics because it really made me take a second look at almost like everyone's kind of second nature to victim blame women in these situations and just be like, why don't they just leave? Like, I can't understand why they would stay with this kind of person. Because from Lily's perspective, you're forced to kind of evaluate the situation from her point of view and understand and empathize with the women in these situations and see how sometimes the excuses could make sense and you could forgive them, especially the first couple times, but then the longer it goes on, the more difficult it becomes to leave. So that was definitely my favorite part of this book, and I'm really grateful I read it for that reason. I'm coming to find that, well, the only other Colleen Hoover book I've read is Reminders of Him, but that one also made me look at a situation that I thought I had opinions on going in, but it really made me put myself in the shoes of the people in these situations and understand life and other people better. So I definitely genuinely feel like I got something out of this book, which I really appreciate it for, but the reading experience as a whole just wasn't that enjoyable for me. And I think I wanted more from the relationship between Lily and Atlas to happen on page and in the current timeline, and we didn't get any of that really. So I was a little disappointed by that, but because of that, I am really interested in the prequel book that's going to come out. I think it's the prequel book that was just recently announced for this, so I think that's super interesting. But in conclusion, at the end of the day, I am rating this book 3.5 stars. I liked it a lot. I just couldn't get over the writing and didn't think the characters were as well developed as they could have possibly been. But at the end of the day, I do think it's overhyped, and I think there are better books out there, even better books written by Colleen Hoover out there. So that's the tea on It Ends With Us. I feel like the lighting is weird, but we're gonna have to work with it. I am in a hotel room in Orange County, California, but I was gonna say during work, but for legal reasons it was not during work. I got to the 50% mark of The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, and I'm really enjoying this one. It is super cute. So in this book we're following our main character Olive. Olive is a grad student in this PhD program. She is kind of like a quirky, goofy kind of heroine, if you will. She's always getting herself into these ridiculous situations, and her most recent ridiculous situation involves this notoriously grumpy, asshole-ish professor in the department. Olive's best friend and her ex are interested in one another, but they feel guilty for dating one another because of Olive. So Olive is trying to convince her best friend that she is dating someone, has moved on from her ex, and she can go after him because she wants her to be happy. And in order to convince her that she's dating someone, when she sees her in the department, she randomly kisses Adam Carlson, the professor. He's like, what the heck is going on? But he plays along. This is not the first time that Olive and Dr. Carlson have met before, and we know that as a reader, but Olive doesn't know that. She doesn't really remember meeting him. And we as the reader also get the feeling, at least I'm getting the feeling, that Adam has liked Olive since the very first time they met. He is more than willing to play along because he has always had a crush on her. There's no like weird student-professor relationship going on because she's not in his cohort. She doesn't take classes from him. He's not on her like thesis board or anything. There's no crossover between them professionally. And so this kind of spirals into this bigger thing because she wants her friend to believe that she's dating him, even though she didn't necessarily mean for it to be him. But he also needs a girlfriend because his university sees him as a flight risk and they won't release funding for his research project. So he's trying to prove to them that he's like settled. So having Olive as his fake girlfriend will actually help him out as well. So they decide to enter into this arrangement for a month or two, see what happens, and like help each other out. But then, of course, Adam already has feelings for Olive, and Olive starts to develop feelings for Adam, and that's kind kind of where we are in this book right now. Olive has just kind of realized like, oh shit, I really like him. But now we're in this weird, awkward fake dating situation. And also Olive is like kind of ridiculous anyway. So she's like, I can't tell him at all. So I'm really enjoying this one. Like I said, I think it is so much fun. I really like Olive as a main character. I think she's so goofy and just funny. And then I also like Adam. He's very much the embodiment of like the grumpy, it's a very like grumpy sunshine trope going on here. And also we obviously have the like the guy falls first trope, which is fun. It's such an easy, quick read. I can definitely see the fan fiction influences in this book. And by that I mean that is a good thing. Like it's super easy to read, it's super engaging, and the romance is like sparking off the page. I love their banter so much. Like these two characters are so funny together because Adam is so sarcastic and Olive is like oblivious. So the way they play off each other and when they realize like as they start to learn the other's like sense of humor and tease each other, it's just really funny and cute. I am having a great time. I can't see how I wouldn't like this. Like in the end, I feel like I'm definitely gonna like this one more than It Ends With Us. I can't imagine like why I wouldn't. I don't know if it's gonna be a 5-star read yet, but I guess the last half will tell. So once I am finished with that, I think I'm gonna go read by the pool. It's not that warm here, but I just want to sit outside. So I think I'm gonna do that. Once I finish, I will update you and let you know what I think. So this morning I did finish The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I really enjoyed it. I do think that this book is worth the hype. I was very happy with it overall. So I did end up giving this one, I think I'm going to settle on a 4.5 star. It wasn't a perfect 5-star book for me. I think it's partly my fault because I read this over the course of like a whole entire month and I had like a vacation in between. I put it down a lot. I feel like if I had just like trucked through it in a few days, like I would have liked it a lot more, but I did it to myself and I pulled myself out of the story a little bit, which I'm low-key kind of upset about because I think I might have rated this 5 stars otherwise. But as it stands, I had a little bit of an issue with it. So I feel like the reason I put it down initially was just because the like miscommunication and Olive's like eccentricities were just a little too much for me. Like it got to the point where I was like, okay, just tell him the freaking truth. Like tell him how you feel. Get over yourself. It's not going to be that bad. Like you're just making everything worse for yourself. And it was just frustrating me a lot to the point where I like had to put the book down and be like, okay, I need to recuperate for a second and like get over how stupid she's being. But then when I jumped back into it, like it's okay. I just would need those breaks in the angst because it was so much for me. I did really end up liking this story and I really liked Adam and Olive together. I hear people like complain about the smut, but I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was kind of good actually. Yeah, there's some like goofy like size kink things, but like that's a thing. Like people love size kink, so it didn't bother me. I feel like I see it all the time, so I don't know. It's just one of those things, you know. Overall, it was super cute and funny, and I really liked all of the side characters as well. Really liked her roommate Malcolm and his relationship with Adam's friend Holden. I thought that was really cute and sweet. And I also loved her best friend An. I just liked how they came together and supported Olive in the end, and they like guided her towards making her own decisions, which I think was cool. Whereas like sometimes you get friends like just push you in one direction, but they're like, these are all of the options that you can do. You need to decide what's best for you. Their friendship was done in such a fun way. Like I love when romance books have that like cast of friends, like that friend group kind of vibe. I loved it. I thought they were great. And I also liked how Adam went like touch her and you die at the end. Ugh, that was amazing. I was like, yes, Adam, fuck him up. But yeah, Adam and Olive were super cute together and I was happy with how this ended. And like the miscommunication at the end was drawn out quite a bit, but the actual part of them like being separated wasn't that long. So I was happy about that. That wasn't as painful to read. It was just like the point of like Olive not admitting that she had real feelings throughout the fake dating when clearly like Adam did the whole time. It's like, Olive, open your damn eyes. Like you're not in this alone. Get it together. But yeah, I did really like this one. I think it's worth the hype. TikTok girlies know what they're talking about with this one. They might have had a little bit of a miss with It Ends With Us, but this one brought it back around. So I am hopeful for the Spanish Love Deception. I have started this book. I'm about 50 pages into it. First impressions are that it's very wordy. There's lots of like adjectives and adverbs, which is kind of dumb. Also like the fact that Aaron is so adamant. Let me tell you what this is about. So this book, we're following our main characters, Catalina and Adam, and Catalina needs a date to her sister's wedding in Spain because her ex-boyfriend is going to be there and he has a new fiance. So she wants to take a date to her sister's wedding to prove that like she's got her life together after her ex, but she doesn't know who to take. So she's spilling all this to her work bestie when Adam, who is her work rival, comes up and he's like, I'll go with you. That's really like the first line in this book. So we have no idea who this man is. So Catalina is just like telling us that she hates him. And there's this whole like contrived, like convoluted, weird conversation between them. He's just very like adamant that he's her only hope and Catalina has to take him as her date. And so we get the vibe that like he has a crush on her, but she hates him for some reason. It just feels a little bit contrived and unrealistic of a relationship. I'm willing to let it slide, but hopefully it starts getting a little bit better because my first impression of it is like not super great. I feel like that happens a lot in romances though, and as long as you like push through, then the characters start to like hit their stride and the writing starts to hit their stride a little bit. So hopefully that happens with this one because this is a long book, so if it's clunky and awkward the whole time, we're gonna be having a problem. Look at my pretty bookmark though that I got from the Library of Kells. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it gorgeous? Anyway, I'll probably update you when I'm like halfway through this one, so stay tuned. I'm gonna kind of try and sit far away from the camera because my skin looks like trash. Anyway, I wanted to update you though because I'm now 50% of the way through the Spanish Love Deception. I'm pretty sure I explained what this was about in the last clip. Hopefully I did because I'm not gonna do it again. Anyway, where we are now at the halfway point is them literally getting on the plane to Spain. Like we spent the first 200 pages just fucking around. I mean, there was like one interesting scene where we understand why Aaron agreed to do this because he also needs a fake date to this charity function where he is up for auction for people to bid on to be his date, and he I guess had a bad experience last year, so he wants Catalina to come and bid on him and be the winning bidder. But it's just there's too much antagonism for me. They're doing this whole thing where it's like the hating game thing. The heroine thinks that the hero hates her as much as she hates him, but really it's just a weird misunderstanding, and actually the hero has been in love with her this whole time and thinks they're just having like playful banter. Except it's not playful banter. It's very painful to me to read about. Aaron is like very cold and distant, not Josh-like at all. I can kind of tell what he thinks is happening, but he's a stupid man and that's not actually what's happening, and it's very frustrating. The dialogue in general in this book is very frustrating and unrealistic. I'm having a hard time suspending my disbelief that people actually think and talk like this because number one, they don't. So that's been a little bit of an issue for me. The writing in general, I mentioned that in the last clip, is very verbose, I mean, they literally had like 3 different scenes in these past 200 pages, so you can understand how verbose the writing is. Like I'm listening to the audiobook while reading this on like 3.2 speed just so I can like get through it so that doesn't bog me down, because I don't think if I was doing that I would be progressing through this book. But yeah, it's not bad and I'm not having a bad time. I feel like having more problems with it than I am having good things. Like I have tabbed a couple things, like the yellow is funny things and the pink is like cute kind of things, but nothing has blown me out of the water yet. It's very slow burn. The whole enemies, rivals, workplace thing is just like not done as well as I've seen it done before. So I don't know. I keep comparing it to the Hating Game because this is very similar in vibes to the Hating Game, and it just is not living up to those expectations for me. But like I said, I'm not having a terrible time. So hopefully now that we're like getting into the nitty gritty of the fake dating scenario, we'll be with Catalina's family and like seeing Aaron's interactions with them and with her in that context will be more interesting and fun. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts as of now. So we will see. This isn't looking to be a 5-star winner. I don't think it will beat out The Love Hypothesis for my favorite book that I've read in this vlog, and it doesn't have the emotional depth that It Ends With Us has, though it is similar in the cringy, unrealistic dialogue, so I will give it that. Not sure where this is going to fall in the ranking, but it's honestly, if I rated it right now, it'd be like 3 stars. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great either. So I will let you know my final thoughts once I'm finished. I'm so bad at filming these vlog update clips, but I did finish The Spanish Love Deception a while ago. But I'm here to give you my final thoughts on this book. So in the end, this book ended up being a 3.5-star read for me. I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I feel like a lot of my thoughts from the first clip were consistent with the last half of the book as well. I did think that the book picked up and hit its stride better in the last half because we're actually like finally in Spain, finally getting into the nitty gritty of the fake dating scenario, being with Catalina's family and seeing how Catalina and Aaron's dynamic changes around other people. And we get some really good moments where Aaron is very like defensive and protective of Catalina and really finally starts to show his feelings to her. I did think that he was a little too cold for a little too long, and I think that he could have expressed his feelings to Catalina a lot sooner and we could have experienced a lot less heartbreak and confusion. But I did end up liking him and Catalina together. There were some swoony moments. The steam was pretty good. There was not enough of it, but what was there was pretty good. So overall, I think the biggest problem I struggled with in this book was the writing. I just thought it was too wordy. There's too many words for too few plot points, if that makes sense. Also, the dialogue at times was unrealistic and cringy. While Aaron and Catalina grew on me as characters, they weren't characters that I was like completely enamored with, and even like after finishing it, I thought they were fine. I wouldn't say Aaron is a new book boyfriend for me, and Catalina did not stand out really as a romance heroine. So for me, this book ended up just being okay, and I would definitely say that it's overhyped a bit. Sorry to my friends who loved this book. I know it like means a lot to you and it's a lot of fun, and I did think it was a fun read, but it was not a new favorite for me by any means. In my humble opinion, it is overhyped. So that is my vlog reading hyped Booktok books. Just as a little wrap up, I read The Love Hypothesis, It Ends With Us, and The Spanish Love Deception. I actually think this would be my ranking. So I think I liked It Ends With Us the least. Even though it and The Spanish Love Deception got the same rating, they're very like neck and neck. But I think I liked The Spanish Love Deception just a little tiny bit more. But then my favorite was definitely The Love Hypothesis. So are all of these books overhyped? Yes. I do think The Love Hypothesis is really cute and a lot of fun, and I can see why it has such a wide appeal. I definitely, out of all these books, would recommend this one the most to the most people. That's not to say that these two aren't also good in their own way. I just wasn't the biggest fan of them. I definitely think there are better written books out there with similar premises, similar themes, and I just couldn't get fully on board with them. So I do think these two are overhyped by the Booktok girlies, but that's okay. I still love y'all. This one is definitely a winner. So if you watched to the end, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you being here. Definitely like this video and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I try and post 2 books videos every single week. You can also follow me on Instagram. I post my daily reading updates over there and other things that I get up to. And I think that's going to be it from me today. So thank you again for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.